These milk brands are causing you problem with your health, increasing your blood pressure and affecting your kidneys. 9 milk brands. One giant that let undercover cameras catch animal abuse at its supplier farms. A recall that just happened this year. A company that quietly dropped 89 family farms while still using their photos in its ads. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which cartons in your fridge have a documented problem, which 2 brands actually check out, and a 2-minute trick to verify any organic label yourself before you buy. If you want the receipts before you shop, not after, hit subscribe. We only post when we've actually verified the story. Number 1. Fairlife. Fairlife built a premium brand on one image. Happy cows, green pastures, ultra-filtered milk worth the extra price. In 2019, undercover footage from Fair Oaks Farms, a major Fairlife supplier, showed workers mistreating calves. It wasn't a one-off leak. It triggered nationwide coverage and a wave of lawsuits that consolidated into federal litigation still working through the courts. The core allegation isn't about what's floating in the milk. It's that Fairlife charged a premium specifically for humane sourcing that the footage called into serious question. And here's the part that should worry you more than a bad headline. A second animal welfare investigation in 2024 led to a new lawsuit alleging the company's promised reforms hadn't fully stuck. Same brand, same core promise, a second round of accusations 5 years later. If a 9-figure brand can't keep that promise twice, what happens when the brand is a lot smaller and a lot less scrutinized? Number 2. Great Value / Walmart. Great Value dominates because it's cheap, and it's cheap because it's sourced from a sprawling, decentralized supply chain. Different dairies, different facilities, different standards. In February 2026, that decentralization showed up in a real recall. Walmart pulled several Great Value cottage cheese products from shelves in 24 states after the manufacturer, Saputo Cheese USA, found some liquid dairy ingredients hadn't been fully pasteurized to state standards. The company's own language called it a significant health risk, and specifically flagged older adults and immunocompromised people as most at risk from unpasteurized dairy. To be precise, this recall was cottage cheese, not the milk jug itself. But it's the exact same supply chain, the exact same manufacturer, and the exact same private label model that fills your milk aisle too. A cheap price and a complicated supply chain go hand in hand. And that pattern shows up again with organic, where the price is anything but cheap. Number 3. Horizon Organic. Horizon sells the pastoral fantasy. Green fields, blue skies, a Asda organic seal that costs you real money at checkout. In 2021, its parent company Danone quietly notified 89 small and mid-sized organic farm families across Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, and New York that their contracts were ending, while simultaneously signing new deals with roughly 50 larger operations closer to its processing plant. Farmers who'd supplied Horizon for decades pointed out something particularly galling. Danone kept using images of small family farms like theirs in its marketing, even as it cut those same farms loose. It drew formal pushback from farm advocacy groups and a direct letter to the Asda from multiple U.S. senators. If the picture on the carton and the farms behind it can drift apart at a company this size, how do you even know which farm your milk actually came from? Number 4. Store brand organic / Aurora Organic Dairy. Kroger's Simple Truth. Safeway's O Organics. Albertsons Open Nature. Different labels, often the same source. Aurora Organic Dairy, one of the largest private label organic milk suppliers in the country. In 2017, a Washington Post investigation found Aurora's cattle spending most of their time in feedlots rather than pasture, and lab testing showed the milk's fatty acid profile looked more like conventional milk than grass-fed organic. That's the real documented part. Here's the part that's fair to include too. The Asda investigated Aurora twice, once in 2007, once after the 2017 story, and both times cleared the company of violating organic standards. So this isn't a clean-cut fraud case. It's a real gap between what an investigation found on the ground and what federal auditors were able to confirm on paper, and that gap is worth knowing about before you pay double for the organic seal. That's brand number 4. We're halfway through the list, and the next 3 all collapsed under their own weight. Quick gut check before we keep going. Have you ever noticed a family farm carton that clearly wasn't coming from one small farm? Drop the brand in the comments. We're building a list from real reports, not guesses. Number 5. Borden. Elsie the cow has smiled from Borden cartons since 1936. Nearly a century of built-in trust. That trust ran into hard financial reality in January 2020, when Borden Dairy filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the second major U.S. dairy bankruptcy in a matter of months. Bankruptcy alone doesn't prove your specific carton is unsafe, but it's a fair, verifiable signal that a company was under severe financial pressure at exactly the time quality control and equipment maintenance budgets are most likely to get squeezed. Borden wasn't the only household name to go under that year. It wasn't even the first. Number 6. Dean Foods. Dean Foods was, at its peak, the largest dairy processor in the United States. Its trucks and brands were genuinely everywhere. In 2019, it collapsed into bankruptcy, sending shockwaves through the entire industry and fragmenting its production facilities across new owners in different regions. That fragmentation is the verifiable part worth remembering. The Dean's milk in one state may now come from completely different ownership and management than the Dean's milk in another. Same label, no unified quality system behind it anymore. One of the brands that went down with that same bankruptcy built its entire identity around the word pure. Number 7. Dairy Pure. Dairy Pure marketed itself around a 5-point purity promise, printed right on the carton, no artificial hormones, antibiotic tested, continuously quality tested. Here's the fair, checkable catch. Every dairy company selling milk in the United States is legally required to test for antibiotics. That's not a special commitment Dairy Pure made. It's baseline federal law. Printing a legal minimum on the label as if it were a competitive advantage is a real, verifiable marketing tactic. And Dairy Pure went down with Dean Foods' 2019 bankruptcy before that branding ever got much scrutiny. 2 bankruptcies, 1 recall, and a marketing claim that turned out to be a legal requirement in disguise. Here's the recall. Number 8. Lactaid/HP Hood. Lactaid built its name on solving a real problem. Lactase enzyme added so lactose-intolerant shoppers can drink regular milk without discomfort. In September 2024, its manufacturer HP Hood issued a Class 1 recall, the FDA's most urgent category, for select 96-ounce Lactaid milk containers across 27 states, after routine testing found undeclared trace amounts of almonds. For anyone with a tree nut allergy, that's a serious, potentially life-threatening risk hiding in a product that says nothing about nuts on the label. HP Hood acted quickly, and no illnesses were reported, but the recall itself is real, FDA coordinated, and dated. Same manufacturer, 1 more recall, this time under its own name. Number 9. Hood. HP Hood has been making dairy in New England since 1846. Real, verifiable heritage. But heritage isn't immunity. Separate from the Lactaid recall, Hood voluntarily recalled specific code dates of its protein drinks from a Sacramento facility after identifying a packaging defect that could cause premature spoilage, bloated packaging, off taste or odor. 2 recalls, same company, within a short window. That's not proof of a pattern of contamination, but it is proof that scale and history don't automatically buy you a clean track record. 9 brands down. Now here's who actually holds up. These are the ones you can trust. Number 1. Organic Valley. Isn't a corporation answering to outside shareholders. It's a farmer-owned cooperative of roughly 1,700 family farms across the country, each subject to regular third-party organic audits. That ownership structure changes the incentive. When farmers own the company, cutting corners on quality hurts them directly, not some distant shareholder. Organic Valley also publishes supply chain transparency tools that let you trace milk back toward the farms behind it, a level of openness the industrial organic brands above simply don't offer. Number 2, Maple Hill Organic goes a step further. 100% grass-fed, no grain supplementation, ever, sourced exclusively from small family farms in New York's Hudson Valley, each independently audited annually to verify grass-fed practices. It's a narrower, smaller-scale model than the giants above, and that's exactly the point. Smaller means someone can actually check. How to check it yourself. You don't need a lab to start protecting yourself. 3 checks, 30 seconds each. Look up the parent company. A quick search of parent company tells you whether your local or family brand is actually owned by a multinational. That's public information. Every time. Search Recall FDA. The FDA keeps a public recall database. If a brand has a recent recall, it'll be the first result. No subscription, no paywall. Check the organic seal supplier, not just the seal. A search for organic milk supplier often surfaces who actually processes it, because as you just saw, 3 different store labels can trace back to the same source. The carton in your fridge is designed to make you stop asking questions. 30 seconds of searching is usually all it takes to start again. If this saved you a wasted trip to the store, subscribe, hit like, and send it to the person in your life who still trusts the cow on the label more than the company behind it.